they're going to come again after Donald Trump for paying some money, supposedly, to deal with the nuisance charge. Meanwhile, the Bidens are taking millions out of China, and nobody says a word. Nobody goes after that. Nobody even pays attention to that.
If you have any evidence, put it on the table. There's no evidence.
There is a lot of evidence to that.
Money out of
there
China.
are bank statements and transactions.
Look, this week, Jim Comer at the House said, oh, yeah, here's this bank statement that went to Joe Biden's former, I think it was
his daughter-in-law is a school counselor. She gets $35,000.
It was from a business person who would have been giving her money before. It was so frivolous. I mean, if you talk about money, let's talk about money to someone like Jared Kushner from the Saudis. But here's the thing. When you
this is why there's conflict.
No, but
because they see a two-tier system of justice.
What two-tier?
They see them. They're going after Donald Trump all day long.
In order to silence her in the midst of a presidential campaign, and that's okay.
That's a federal issue.
Let's go to the other side of the table. Francesca, Republicans and Democrats traded shots this week over where the blame lies for the Silicon Valley bank crisis. There's some complaints about rolling back regulations on banks and now a call to reinstate some of those regulations. How does this play out on the Hill?
So on Capitol Hill, we're seeing this morning both Elizabeth Warren and Senator Van Hollen suggest that they could try to raise the cap on the FDIC in the future. The Biden administration has put forward a few things themselves. Essentially, they want to strengthen the ability for the FDIC to be able to claw back bank compensation, make sure that the people responsible never are able to serve in banking ever again. The White House and Biden administration officials tell me those are just first steps to what they're going to be putting forward, and that they welcome investigations from Congress at this point into what happened in this situation.
Michael, what's a sweet spot for American banks? You don't want to restrict them and potentially hamper the American economy, but you also don't want to put taxpayers on the hook, right?
No, I totally agree. I don't think a legislative solution is in the offing anytime soon. I think this was a supervision problem, and I think the most important regulatory body today is the Federal Reserve. They're under fire. They made the wrong call on inflation. It took them way too long to start raising interest rates a year ago, and this is part of the reason we're in the trouble here. And also, look back at Silicon Valley Bank. It's the bureaucrats inside the bank who made some very wrong, unwise decisions. So I don't think we ought to be rushing up in Congress to pass new legislation when there's plenty of other reasons to look at the details.
That doesn't mean there won't be hearings, right, Jason?
There should be hearings. It was a supervision problem, but it was also a conflict of interest. How is it that Silicon Valley Bank was also a part of the San Francisco Federal Reserve? Those things need to be fleshed out.
All right, panel. Well done. Thanks very much. See you next Sunday. Up next, a note about a very special